hi, this is Miss Shepherd. This is your next stage of the project. So we've just looked quickly at doing a title page, and the next stage is creating your mood board. Now, the idea of the mood board is to also develop your ideas or your starting points in response to a project brief. And you can do it with a mood board first, you can do it with a mind map. It depends on what the project requires. For this stage, we're looking at a mood board. Now, you know that in the project brief, it mentions the artists Jim Dine, Klaus Oldenburg, Natalie Parsley, Arman. And so what I'm inviting you to do now is to find artwork, find sculptures by these people, okay, and collect a range of their images so that you can create a mood board to help you inform your next stage of work of creating your ideas, okay? And it also helps you work out what other artists have done before you and how they have looked at ordinary objects, at plain objects, still life items, inanimate things, and recreated them in a form of a public sculpture or a sculpture to be displayed in a gallery. Something a little bit different, something a bit quirky. So turning the everyday into something quite whimsical. So you are going to find all these artists' work, you're going to select them. Now you can go up onto my Pinterest site. Okay, so that link should be there. If that doesn't work, just type in Miss Shepherd. As long as you spell my name right, you won't be able to miss me. I've either got a bobbled hat on with two bobbles either side, and it's mustard yellow, or I've changed it to a curly whirly strange sort of picture. Anyway, but to start you off, what you can do, you can use this whilst on your computer, and you can then tap straight into the links that are there. Okay, so we're getting extra boxes, and that means you can find the work straight away. Now, for example, Natalie Parsley, she didn't just do sculptures, excuse the gap, she also did drawings and paintings as well. But what you really want to look for are the sculptures, because that's what the project is about. Please do not get loads of work of drawings and paintings by the artist. It defeats the whole object of the actual project itself. So what you'll do, you can copy all of them. You could actually also search for yourself in Google, on Pinterest. You'll find that there are folders in there for cardboard art as well. So it's not just you looking for those artists' work, it's about you finding artists of your own as well that you find interesting. That means that you can actually say, yeah, I like this. Okay, I'd like to respond to this in a different way, and I'd like to make it more my own. So you might find sculptures in the cardboard section. You also might find, if you type in everyday sculptures or everyday art, or sculptures of toadstools, I don't know, of hammers, you might find something quite interesting. So once you have done that, they will need printing off, okay, or just presented in PowerPoint for you. Now, think about your presentation as well when it comes to that. Please do not just assume that you just have to sort of slap it in there. Now, what I have got is about 2 or 3 pages for my presentation. So I really want you to have a think about how you lay stuff out. You can have pictures laid all over top of each other. You might find some of the images work quite well if you actually cut around them. It depends. Now, I have done my little cheat and prepped something a little bit earlier. I've actually found an envelope, just grey on the inside. You can find some with pattern, and I found that quite useful. So I'm going to get that glued in as preparation first. What I really suggest when you start presenting your ideas, if I haven't said this already, which I don't think I have, cut everything out you need and work out where it goes. Don't just go, I'll get it, I'll glue it, and I'll stick it in here, and then work out as you're going along, this doesn't quite fit. It won't. So the idea is that you're planning out your page like you plan out a picture, because layout is essentially a picture. You're trying to make it look aesthetically pleasing, pretty, basically. So you can appease me, yeah, and also the moderator. Okay, so it's a bit small, it doesn't matter. As you can see, I've sort of roughed in. I've roughed in sort of the title. So again, I'm going to put it in pen. I can actually modify this later. I've realised I've got something stuck underneath, so it makes it really hard to actually draw, so I can make my lettering really fancy. It's really important that I make my lettering interesting. Don't just go, oh, mood board, like you would write in any old book, in your English book or in maths. It's not that. You're not doing those subjects here. You're trying to do something that requires you to present your work really nicely. So I've started doing that, so it looks like mod board, doesn't it? But, you know, I'm doing that now as I'm going along. Not that I can see it very well, and maybe you can't. I don't know. Right, so here we go. I have already prepared this. As you can see, I've clipped everything to one side, and I've got all my images. Yeah, and I've cut them out quite nicely. So these work out quite well for that. Not all images do. Okay, and as you can see, I've got quite a range. So I've got cardboard booties, or Doc Martens as they look like. I've got a sandwich, a soft sandwich, fabric sandwich made by Klaus Oldenburg. I've got an Arman sculpture where he's literally taken a violin and rechopped it and reorganised it. I've got Glenn McKay's real hammer that is just painted up. And I've got Peter Randall, I think it is, sculpture, a wooden sculpture. I mean, it's colossal in size, of a conker. Okay, and I've got Klaus Oldenburg again with his enormous, actually it's massive, again, a colossal sized apple core. Okay, so at the moment I haven't really thought about where it's going, but it's looking okay. So now I've got to think about how it's going to lay out. How is it going to fit on? How do I want it to look? So it looks okay, but it's not great. Okay, so I might think about rearranging it. So that might go up there. That could go there. I could actually arrange it like that. So that's not too bad. I think it's quite nicely balanced out as well. So you could have that nicely stuck down like that. So that would be quite acceptable. What I would also suggest that you do, and this is quite important for yourself, for later on, and for the moderator who looks at your work, and for me, because I might be interested in these artists because I might not have seen them before, because we're learning every day, aren't we? So I'd be writing down the side who the artist is. Glenn McKay. Okay, Klaus Oldenburg. You might not have a name for that. If you don't have a name for it, it's okay. But try and find a name for them, okay? So you can actually respond to them later, because you might find that you do an evaluation and you'll say, well, in my mood board, I found blah, blah, blah's work really interesting and I wanted to use it for my ideas. You might write that down for initial ideas when you're writing your plan and why you've actually chosen to maybe make a burger, for example, a giant ass burger. Right, so that's a possibility. So I'll stick those down later. I'm going to cheat because of time. Here I could just paint the background, I could get collage, I could keep it really simple, but these are not really cut out except for that one. So we'll just put that to the side. So really think about how you lay things out. So you get everything in front of you, make sure it's the right way up. Please don't put things upside down, double check. I see it time and time again, and it is really frustrating. You might find that things are not going to fit, so you might have to spread them out on other pages. You might need to find that you need more pictures, okay, for yourself to work with, to make your layout a bit more interesting. Okay, so think about how things are laid out. You might want them to overlap. That is not a problem. You could do it like that. You might want to keep all of one artist's work together rather than mixing it up, and label their work like that. Right, so you could say, yeah, that's all Klaus Oldenburg's work. I've got that all kept together and laid it out as so. And as this is moving around, it's a bit difficult, but it doesn't actually have to be straight. Nothing has to be perfectly logical in its layout. It can be a little bit wonky, so it can be a little bit different. So you might just have all his work for one page. There's more of his work. I could have it there. I could have his name there. Then I could have another page for Armand's. I could have one for Natalie Parsley's, and then one page for all the different artists that I found. So that is what you can do for your mood board. Okay.